The other context we want to provide is the need for the reforms in the first place. Why are we reforming? It was clear to us that our tax system and more broadly, the fiscal system wasn't working for us anymore, wasn't fit for purpose, was already a drag in terms of growth. We're taxing capital, taxing poverty, and making it difficult for people to make investment based on archaic laws with a lot of ambiguous provision. And that's about the economy because tax and fiscal reforms are part of the economic management. As of 2023, we had a lot of important indicators like balance of payments. This is Nigeria earning much less in dollars than we needed. So we had significant distortion in the forex market, very many windows for official transactions, from going to school to medical to going for pilgrimages to buying inputs, and a wide margin between those rates and the parallel rate, resulting in arbitrage where government was deciding who wins and who loses. We had over 7 billion unmet forward contract. People paid naira to the CBN trying to get dollars, and those dollars were not provided. We were spending 97% of government revenue to service debt, which means all the money we spent from paying salaries to overhead to capital expenditure were borrowed. And they were not borrowed at single-digit interest rates. These were high 20s interest rates. Because we ran out of money, we printed money to spend. We printed over 30 trillion naira in ways and means to spend, which is part of the inflation that we are dealing with today. The NMPC that was supposed to remit money to the Federation accounts said that Federation account was owing them. And that's because they had used all Nigeria's entitlements to crude oil and gas to subsidize PMS. It wasn't enough. They took royalty and taxes from the oil sector, added it, it wasn't enough. Then they began to commit future production of crude oil to subsidize current consumption of PMS. So much so that today, as we speak, Nigeria can hardly boast of up to 200,000 equivalent barrels of oil that has not been encumbered. The reality is, at that rate at which we were going, my estimation is we had less than 6 months before the economy will collapse completely. And it will not be a question of whether PMS is 800 or 900. It will be a question of you hold 5,000 naira and you pray to God to find a liter of fuel. Because if you run out of committing future production, and you can't print dollars because you are not the US government, you can't bring in products anymore. And there won't be Dangote refinery because there's no way Dangote would have launched its refinery selling at 200 naira per liter and then hope that government pays the subsidy. Because this is the government that is spending all their money to service debts. So this was an impossible situation. It was amber waiting to turn red. But for the reforms, which though painful, are beginning to yield positive macro results. You can see in the middle where we are today that many of those indicators turn from amber to green. And we must also acknowledge that it's not entirely green as of yet because it's work in progress. But if those reforms had not been introduced, Nigeria today would be red. And, you know, like we like to say in Nigeria, God forbid. You see much bigger deficits, much bigger unmet demand of FX, printed more than 50 trillion by now, and the budget deficit and inflation will not be 20 or 30%, it will be hyperinflation. The approach to the reforms were very clear based on the mandate given to us by Mr. President, that we have to prioritize issues to do with people. So it's people first before anything else.